And then I got a call, do you want to come to India? Then I came here and then I put my first foot on the ground in Oragadam and I saw this huge piece of land. Cows were there, some old buildings were demolished. And then I said, this is exactly a lifetime opportunity.
India plays a massive role in building these powerful, beautifully engineered machines that are moving economies across the globe.
We have exported in total 70,000 units produced in India for the world.
So we all see BharatBenz trucks and buses on Indian roads every day. And if you travel to parts of the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, or other parts of the world, you likely spot a FUSO or a Mercedes-Benz trucks or buses navigating the highways. But there's something that you may not know, and that is India plays a massive role in building these powerful, beautifully engineered machines that are moving economies across the globe. Established in 2009, DICV, wholly owned by Daimler Truck AG, builds Mercedes-Benz trucks for India and exports FUSO, Mercedes-Benz, Freightliner vehicles to over 70 global markets. While DICV blends Indian innovation with German engineering to power supply chains across continents, we are here to explore what powers DICV's supply chain. I am Rajoshi Chatterjee from Stat Trade Times and Indian Transport and Logistics News. And to uncover the stories behind DICV's supply chain, I welcome Michael Moebius, President and Chief Procurement and Supply Chain Officer at Daimler India Commercial Vehicles. Thank you for joining us, Michael.
Thank you very much.
So, Michael, based on announcement during Daimler Truck Capital Market Day 2025, India has been positioned as best cost country within Mercedes-Benz Trucks Global 110. So, how is DICV capitalizing on India's strengths in R&D, manufacturing, and logistics to boost Daimler Trucks' global cost efficiency and operation resilience?
So DICV, as you know, is an integral partner of Mercedes-Benz Trucks. So one of our biggest advantages here is low cost, but high education level. And we have a very young and agile workforce in all areas, in our production, in our R&D. And this is exactly what we are utilizing worldwide. The education level is high, and we are integrated into the entire Daimler world. That means our R&D engineers, they are networked with the R&D engineers across the globe. So there's a regular exchange, and also orders are given for us to design, to test, and we are also producing here. For example, our global medium transmission is exclusively produced in India for the world. And the same we are doing now in procurement and supply chain. So we have a global network, and we are exploring now the opportunities not only to source for India, also more global. We had already a couple of parts which were sourced from India, but now we want to go in a large scale.
And talking about logistics and supply chain of DICV, what are the primary modes of transport used for your exports for both completely built units and completely knocked down units?
The primary transportation mode is by ship. When we build up completely built trucks, we have roll on, roll off onto the ship. So with our plant, which is very close to the harbor here in Chennai, we have short logistics way. The same we use for our KD kits, so where we're packing the parts in 2 boxes and sending it around the world for our license partners and business partners where we assemble the trucks. So this all goes by ship. That's the primary mode of transportation for our export markets.
Is there anything that moves by air?
Actually, very, very few parts. Air is somehow like a contingency plan. If, for example, a part is delayed or we find out that there's an issue with the part, in order to avoid a production stop somewhere around the globe, then this is as a contingency, we ship it by air, but this is very, very rare. So we have well-planned lead times for our trucks and for our parts production, and normally this doesn't happen. But in case, we have always the option, because air freight is faster, but it's also more expensive. And therefore, we have a well-planned production and logistic chain, and we try to avoid it. And it's very minimal that parts are going by air.
So while talking about the movement of Daimler trucks by the sea, which major ports do you use for both import and export?
We majorly use the Chennai port. Chennai is, or Tamil Nadu is the automotive hub in India, where a lot of manufacturers in the automobile business are located here. So it was for us a clear strategic move to move here because also the majority of our suppliers are out of the region. And that gives us short ways, and ways on the road is money, and this logistics cost we wanted to keep as efficient and as low as possible, and therefore the proximity to the Chennai harbor helps us a lot, where then the finished trucks, when we send them roll on, roll off to the harbor, then they go on wheels. For the KD kits, we are sending them on the truck to the harbor where they get then containerized and shipped around the world.
So could you share some annual export volume numbers from India in terms of number of trucks, buses, be it in the form of CBUs or CKDs?
Yeah, we actually had our start of production in 2012 in our plant here in Oragadam. And the first export vehicle went already in 2013 on the ship. So imagine a new production plant, a new brand in a new market, and then 1 year later already export of a fully built truck. So in 2013, the first export happened. And until now, we have exported in total 70,000 units produced in India for the world.
Amazing. That's quite a significant number. And did you observe any change in the numbers in the recent years?
No, actually, the numbers are growing. Sometimes it's a little bit fluctuating between the domestic and the export market. This depends also on the global economy. And as we know at the moment, there are geopolitical tensions. So it goes a little bit up and down. But basically, it's growing since 2013. And also in future, we are expecting and we are planning to grow. And at the moment, our vehicles are sold in almost 70 markets around the world. So the plan is for expansion.
And talking about Daimler Truck's global production network, how strategically is India positioned for that?
India is strategically positioned in a very prominent place. If you follow the capital market, there from our board of management, it was clearly communicated. India will produce and sell 60,000 trucks by 2030, domestic and in the export market. So that is a clear commitment from Daimler Truck that India is the location, the growing location for the future, and therefore we are investing in it. And the same is not only for trucks, it's also for parts. Since the last 10 years when we started exporting parts, more than 300 million parts were exported through our consolidation center to the world. So that's basically an average 30 million parts. And that contributes to the India's vision, Make in India. And we are supporting that because also we have a benefit and contribute to the economy here in India, and we have also win out of it.
And if we have to compare this India's manufacturing plant with your global plants, be it in Europe or America, how does India stand?
Actually, we are all on eye level. There are different products which are produced for the different markets. So we have the high-end products like the MB Actros produced in Germany, or in the US market, the Cascadia, which is dedicated for that market. From India, we leverage that we deliver to the emerging markets like Africa, also Middle East is one of the markets, and Southeast Asia. So we have our value truck, which is definitely produced here in India and shipped to the world.
And as you mentioned some markets, if we get into the specifics, which global regions are currently the key destinations for Indian manufactured Daimler trucks, components, or platforms?
Yeah. So the key markets are Africa, as I mentioned, Middle East, Southeast Asia. We have even trucks which we deliver out of India to Latin America. And we are producing under the brand of Freightliner trucks in India for the Mexican market as well.
And also in the other Asian markets?
Yes, Southeast Asia.
That includes Japan, Vietnam?
Yeah. No, in Japan, we have under the Mitsubishi FUSO brand, our own facilities there, which are producing for Japan. And export we are doing from India, you mentioned before the KD and the CBU, which is the new FUSO, which is coming from India for the world.
And anyway, Daimler Trucks India is helping the new plant that came up in Indonesia.
Yes. So our Daimler Truck Indonesia plant is producing mainly for Southeast Asian markets.
All right. And with Daimler's growth priorities and including zero emission vehicles and defense, what export opportunities are emerging for India in these high potential verticals?
So all military business, zero emission is centrally steered by our truck technology group from Germany, where all the activities are coordinated around the world. So if on the R&D side or production side or even on the supplier-based side, we can contribute. So this is then always with a headquarter alignment from Germany where we are contributing. But it's, as I said, centrally controlled.
Right. We have talked about the export side. Now, I would like to explore more on the import side. And what are the key components or materials that Daimler Truck India currently imports to support local manufacturing?
So the import volume is very, very low. Our localization in average for our truck is greater than 90%. We are importing some electronic parts, mainly from Europe and from Japan. But we have suppliers which are importing their subcomponents like sensors, resistors, and so on from China. These are mainly electronic parts, and we are exploring also further opportunities that we can source more of those parts also for our tier 2 suppliers out of India. But mainly, as I said, above 90% our truck is localized, which is a great value and a good contribution to the country and to the economy.
Right. And talking about the import side, maybe less than 10% of the components that you import. So does it come by sea or air?
All these components come by sea. It's in the similar like our export mode. In case of a shortage or any crisis, then it is the contingency plan to import it by air. But as I said before, it's just exactly the same like for the export. Normally, we don't need it. We are planning well ahead with our supplier partners together in order to minimize the risk that we have to ship it by air. But it's a fallback in case something happens, then we have to do it. For example, when there was the Red Sea conflict, where then suddenly the ships had to go around Africa instead of passing the Suez Channel, then we had to sometimes fly parts behind in order to avoid production stops.
And can you tell us a bit more about the logistics model of these component sourcing?
The components which are sourced from across the world from our suppliers, they are going also through their regular chains, mainly sea freight. Sometimes air freight if it is required. But we are in close contact with our suppliers, especially now the big topic is rare earth material, where 7 elements out of 17 are facing an export ban. So it's taking a long time to get the export permit from China for the rare earth metal. So together with our supplier partners and our R&D department, we are looking now into alternative. And this is mainly localization. So wherever possible, we try to get these subcomponents now also in India. And if not in India available, then we are looking a little bit further into the world. Southeast Asia is definitely then one of the sources. Basically, it's risk mitigation, which all the main suppliers or OEMs around the world are doing, because the geopolitical risk, especially with China, is at the moment underlying a big uncertainty. And at the end, it's risk mitigation to keep the production running.
Is it something like just-in-time logistics model?
Yeah. So our mode is normally just-in-time or just-in-sequence. Why we are doing this? First of all, our supplier partners in India are very reliable. We have built up over the last 10, 12 years a very robust supply chain. So, and you want to reduce the costs, and logistics is a high cost, especially the warehousing. So we have built up just in time as much as possible with a very, very minimal buffer. If a truck has a breakdown, if the parts are coming by truck, we use also a railroad, and then just in sequence. Just in sequence is even a little bit more critical because, as the word says, it has to be in sequence. So it needs to be very well harmonized with our production plan, and that's why we have a high focus on that. It's now not the major part just in sequence, but just in time is definitely something where we are looking into since years, and this is where we generate also cost savings in our logistic chain.
Right. And as you were mentioning about reducing external dependencies, is Daimler Truck actively looking to develop new supplier partnerships?
Yes, all the time. We have a very good supplier base developed over the last 10, 12 years since the inception of DICV. But new suppliers are coming, new technologies, new innovations, and we want to participate also in that. So that's why we are always very, very open also for new supplier partner. We are looking even in another direction with startups. So we are also engaged with a couple of startups where we're looking into the innovation, which could be then a supplier in the future. So definitely we are looking ahead and trying or not trying, we are developing together, progressing together with our current suppliers, but we are always open for new suppliers to enhance our portfolio.
And how do you think free trade agreements with regions like the UK, EU, or others influence your export cost structure and shape your market entry or export and expansion strategy from India?
Yeah. The free trade agreement are actually a very interesting part of the entire supply chain because if suddenly a free trade agreement comes up, so then we have a clear win-win. That means we can export out of India, which supports the Indian economy, but on the other side, we can also import parts which we are needing. So that's why we always look on the global development in the same way like we look on the tariffs with all the executive orders which are influencing in a way. And in the same way, we're looking for the free trade agreement to leverage this opportunity together with our supplier partners, which supports us in keeping the cost under control as much as possible. But there are a lot of headwinds now globally, especially with the tariffs on steel and aluminium, and therefore a free trade agreement is definitely on our agenda, and we are observing the political development, and that is definitely what we are striving for.
Amazing. So, looking at what's your vision for DICV's export and supply chain strategy?
Vision and supply chain strategy, we are going away from the term BCC. BCC stands for best cost country. That was in the past the clear target. Best cost, best quality. But if you look for the global development, and it started actually with the pandemics, BCC is not always the solution. We are looking for BSC, best sourcing country. So that means we are looking beyond price and quality. We are looking for the entire supply chain for resilience. And there we have to look into different countries or markets, political structure, financial strengths, and also GDP growth. These are indicators where we determine how resilient a new market is, which could be attractive for us for future sourcing.
Any new market in the pipeline?
The biggest market that we have in the pipeline is enhancing India. India has a huge potential, and India is competitive on the salary costs and also education and innovation. India is not lagging behind. So that's why there is now a very strong focus on sourcing out from India. And we see it from our mother plants and around the world. We are getting more and more requests to source out of India for the world. So in the last 5 years, the RFQs, request for quotation, went 18 times up. So that is clear, a commitment to India. This is also a very clear statement that Indian quality, reliability, and products are reliable and they can be competing on a global stage. And this is what we are leveraging. That's part of our strategy to enhance this further. So that's why full focus is on India, which doesn't mean that we are looking left and right. For sure, we have to, and I just explained you about the supplier resilience and the country resilience, which we are looking into it. So we are looking in a broad scale.
Amazing. So Daimler Trucks made in India for the world.
Absolutely. Innovate for India and the world.
So one last thing, since you have been a part of a company which makes this amazingly beautifully engineered trucks, any personal memory?
I would say my best personal memory that I had was that I got this opportunity to join the inception of DICV. Before I joined DICV, I was at that time, a Mercedes-Benz in the passenger car division. I was located in Iran, where I was heading the production plant there. And then I got a call. Do you want to come to India to do quality management? I said, I don't know. Then, come and see. I said, because I don't know the trucks. Then I came here and then I put my first foot on the ground in Oragadam and I saw this huge piece of land. Cows were there, some old buildings were demolished. And then I said, this is exactly a lifetime opportunity. And together with our young and agile team, we have set a benchmark here. At the time I was in charge for quality management. It was the first end-to-end quality management from R&D up to the customer. We have set benchmarks there, and these were memories and experiences which we carried then further into the Daimler Truck Asia business model at that time. And that is unforgettable. And I'm very thankful that I got this opportunity to be part of such an amazing team. And the result, after 12 years after SOP, the BharatBenz trucks, which are rolling on the road and exported, every time when I drive and I see somewhere a BharatBenz truck, my heart is beating a little bit faster. So that's a lifetime opportunity. And I'm very thankful for that, for the colleagues, from the company, that I can be part of this amazing team.
Thank you, Michael, for your time and sharing such wonderful insights. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.